That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. That's what I'm about doing. If I look at it and I'm not confident on 95, yeah, I'm gonna like the central limit theorem one, I pretty much looked at it and went, yeah, I don't remember how to do
So friends,
crumpled it up and threw it away.
what I want to do, briefly, I want to bridge a gap today as well. Kate said something very, very wise, and I want to repeat it if it's okay. She was talking to Michael about when to turn quizzes in and when not to turn quizzes in. One of the things you got to think about is, you don't have to turn every quiz in. This is, most of you guys are used to this because you had me last term. Back then they were all optional. You don't turn any of it in. But the same logic applies in that you don't have to turn every single one in this term. You're going to have way more than 10 available to you. I haven't posted any for next week. I'm probably going to post at least 2, maybe even 3. I'm probably going to have one more of this stuff, this confidence intervals on a proportion. I'm going to have at least one confidence interval on an average, which we're going to start looking at today. I'll probably have some other review quiz up there, maybe another central limit theorem review or something like that. So there'll be tons of... That's okay. You don't have to. No. You don't have to.
I was not talking to you.
It's totally fine, Mark. It's all good. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. But the point is, the point is you don't have to do every single one. Don't break yourself of that I have to turn everything in mentality, because you don't. You don't. I want them to help your grade, not hurt them. I don't want you to turn it in once. Although the rainy day coupon, of course, will help you in case you do turn it in 1. You can correct whatever you want to correct, and you can wait till the end of the term to decide which one you want to use. All right. I want to finally answer Renee's question from like 47.2 hours ago, which was, we keep talking about these sample sizes and how the sample sizes affect margin of error. Larger the sample size, margins of error shrink. We all see that. So what's a minimum sample size? So that's a great question.
1.
Well, okay. The problem with 1, yes, that's good. That's a good answer. Go sample 1. And have a good time having everybody leaving. That guy did not use the signal leaving the roundabout, therefore no one in Bend used the signal leaving the roundabout.
But that is true.
It's not true.
People in Central Oregon,
It's totally true.
Problems using precise signals.
As a bike commuter, I can concur anecdotally. I believe that is true. I believe it. I also think there's a problem with Bend building 2-lane roundabouts in a town that's roughly the size of my back pocket. I don't understand why we have to have 2-lane roundabouts in this town. I have almost died numbers of times on my bike in a 2-lane roundabout using it correctly. The one they just put in on Empire and 18 blocks from my house. And the way, first of all, have you noticed on that one? That when you're in, I move in the left lane because I have to go 302, what's 3/4 of the way, 270 degrees around to exit. So I have to get in the left lane to stay on the inside to go all the way around. The freaking arrow points left on that lane. Now, if I was not in town and I saw an arrow that points left and I came to an intersection, I'd turn left, which would then kill you because you'd be turning into oncoming traffic going the correct way on the roundabout. Number 1. Number 2, I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority of people that actually do that. They move into the left lane to make that 3/4 of the route. Because how many times have you guys been in that roundabout, or a roundabout like that, where somebody in the far lane cuts over into the inside lane? And now imagine being on a bike when that happens. It's terrifying.
All the time when there was no lines on it, before they put the lines on it. It was terrible.
2-lane roundabouts.
Yeah.
We should write our Congress people. Our council people.
Before they used the 2 lanes, I just kind of guessed. Because there's a seam in the concrete right there.
Yes. Oh.
But it's not centered.
Wait, no, it's not. You're right.
And so people
Bigger question is, why the hell are we putting it in?
Yeah.
The town is not that big. It's not London, for God's sake. Those things aren't a 1/4 mile across.
I gotta grow.
I don't know about the 2-lane part, but the roundabout part is to prevent.
I love roundabouts.
Okay.
My beat is with 2-lane roundabouts. I love the idea of a roundabout. It's pretty. It does do, traffic is much better handled, especially there. Remember what 18th and used to look like? 18th and Empire, it used to be awful. The traffic on 18th was always backed up, and Empire, which I don't think had a stop sign, was always going through. So I'm a big fan of roundabouts. It lets traffic mitigate itself, which I think is great mathematically, statistically, and just as a biker, I love it too. But the 2 lanes is causing, they have an instructional video on how to use it. Come on now! Come on now! You gotta post an instruction video on how to use a damn roundabout. Okay, go ahead.
They did a
Off
really
soapbox.
sweet Mythbusters on it.
They did?
Yeah.
On a 2-lane roundabout or just
No,
roundabouts?
just on roundabouts, but they did the whole thing kind of just jokingly doing British accents and stuff.
Oh, roll it.
there are no roundabouts
There's
in
noise.
the United States, blah, 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 is what they kept talking about. And oh, the US should do it. It's like, dude, come to Bend.
They're all over the U.S. Cape Cod had them 30 years ago. They're called rotaries out there.
40% more efficient.
I believe it, because traffic can mitigate itself. I mean, it's wonderful.
But they just kept talking
Wonder how
about
they measured efficiency.
For the record though, they're a pain to pull horse trailer.
Oh, I don't blame that. That's why in snowy weather on a bike, I cut across the median. Could you find the link and send it to me? I'd love to see how they measure the efficiency.
What they did is they had a set number, they stuck, I don't know if you watch Mythbusters.
I don't.
They stuck one of the guys up in a huge crane above a four-way intersection that they made and above a roundabout.
Yes.
And they had random people who had never used roundabouts before and gave them each random directions of which they were going to be going.
Okay.
And they had a set number of time and counted how many people went through an intersection in that number of time with a just stop go.
Four-way stop, two-way stop?
Four-way stop.
Four-way stop,
And then
okay.
counted how many cars were able to get through efficiently through a roundabout when given random a direction.
Efficient being defined as
More
more
cars
cars
in
get
a
through in a
time.
unit time. I wonder if it would change if you changed it from a four-way stop to a two-way stop or a T intersection, like the one that's out on 8th Street and Butler Market. There's a T intersection that used to be there that's now replaced with a roundabout. I wonder if it
I
would change.
think the reason why they
Don't
did
know.
it is because most roundabouts are four-way.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying my math brain immediately goes to, okay, well, it'll work in every situation. Can you send me, if you think about it, send me the link. I'd love to see it, because I love to see that. I've got a few studies in the can I want to analyze with you guys. That's one. One is one I just saw yesterday. I think it was a Time magazine article. Marriages without children are happier.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw that one recently. I want to go track that one down. And bearded men are more attractive.
They are.
Yep.
They are. It's proven. N equals 1. Boom. I want to analyze all these things and see where the number actually.
Technically speaking, it's truly because they show like fertility and women are like
Interesting.
instinctively attracted to that.
Interesting. I like
They
it.
took a couple pictures of that, and they the same person, they took a picture of him clean cut, one with.
Sure. I want to get the data and share it with you guys. This might be your take-home exams, analyzing these things. I don't know. I want to see them.
No going back.
Well, you know what you can do? You can measure the number of childbirths 9 months from November. Whatever the hell that month
It was
is from.
similar to the one where a whole bunch of people were born because of the power outage of the
The power outage of the storm, or the 9 months from January 1st, all those wonderful things. Yes, good, good, good. All right! Thank you, that was wonderful. That's good. So Renee's question from 47.3 hours ago now was, what does minimum sample size? So 1, yes. As we just saw with here, even with a ridiculously skewed probability. Now you gotta remember, friends, this curve is going to be unbeknownst to you. It's out there in the population. You don't know, for example, that P is 0.1. It could be anything, right? I mean, the point of this exercise is you're studying what little p is. It could be anything. So you want to make sure you draw a large enough sample so that you can actually account for any possible value of p. So if p were 0.1, then a sample size of 100 actually gets us a pretty good bell curve. It's a pretty wide bell curve. I like it to be narrower. So clearly, the idea is, okay, 1's a minimum, 10's better, because 10 actually pulls a bell curve out, right? 10, remember what smaller sample sizes did? It didn't pull the bell curve quite as nicely. Those are smaller samples. There's still some skew there. And the more we pull, the better it gets. The more we pull, the better it gets. Good, very good. But the question is, can we make it even better? Well, of course you can. You can always make it better. But the minimum is going to be this guy right here. And I don't want you to memorize this, but you're going to keep seeing this over and over again. N times P and N times Q bigger than 5. I like NP and NQ bigger than 10. Don't memorize that, please. Don't memorize that. That's what I told you, Renee, was like a bare acceptable minimum. Because when you do that, you actually get a bell curve. And if you want to see more of a mathematical proof, I've got one posted for you on that enrichment page. So I actually walk through why the bell curve appears when N times P is bigger than 10. There's a very good reason for it, extraordinarily good reason for it. But if you want to see more math, it's buried there for you on, not buried, it's on the enrichment page. But I want to get into a better answer than that, because how many of you guys have seen a Gallup poll where there's only 100, oh good, thank you. I'm sorry, you guys are so good, you answer questions before I'm not asking them. As an ADD person, I respect that. How many of you seen a Gallup poll where the sample size is only 100? You have.
No, I haven't.
You have not. Neither have I. The sample size is usually at least 1,000, if not much higher. So and here's why. Here's why. I'm going to start and stop this again because there's